Hey y'all, my name's Jen. I'm a health and life coach on a mission to empower women, and this season I call the messy middle. We believe it's never too late to dream your wildest dreams and to build lives freed from the shoulds and have-tos. Here, we talk to ourselves like we do our girlfriends and our sisters and daughters. I will share stories and resources with lots of encouragement and a little bit of tough love to drive you toward action. In this podcast, we talk about everything: career, relationships, motherhood, and health. So grab your sneakers and let's go, because she's wild and freed. Hey y'all. Welcome to another episode of She's Wild and Freed. I'm your host, Jen, and I am so excited to dig into our topic today. We are starting a series called The 3 C's to Improve Your Life. That C is in the letter C, and this is the first week and the first C. If you didn't hear last week's episode, feel free to go back and take a listen. It's a short one, and also my dog makes her debut in the podcast sphere. But let me recap where we are, and then we will dive into the first C to improve your life. My whole family, well, minus one, got sick with COVID and a virus at different times. However, it spanned over a 2-week period. I was the last holdout and tried everything not to get sick, but in the end, I spent a couple of days in bed, sleeping, Netflixing, and thinking. I was thinking about patterns that show up in my life. What themes seem to loop over and over, almost like my life is on repeat. And I thought about how can I break that cycle. Let me say again, I know I don't have all the answers, but I have come up with these 3 C's, and I hope it's helpful for some of you. They have definitely helped me. These 3 C's are actions we can take, simple and effective actions to start creating healthy habits and stop looping with the unhealthy ones. These are not new words or new concepts for any of us, but put together in this order, they become a powerful formula to take us from thinking about things and having those same thoughts and dreams on repeat in our head and moving us into action. These 3 words may seem obvious as we go through this series, and honestly, I could just go through each one right now and have a whole episode about the 3 C's. But what I have learned in life and through my coaching practice is when we slow down, focus on one thing at a time, take one step or action in a careful way, we experience sustainable growth. Taking one action or one C each week will allow us to practice and remove obstacles for inevitable success in whatever we're working toward. In this podcast, we've talked a little bit about setting goals and recommitting to a goal we set earlier this year. We discussed looking at a new season as being a great time to not give up on our goals, our dreams, our life, just because we are coming up on the end of the year, but instead to ramp up and show ourselves what we are made of. Of course, I know we all have life happening, and you may be going through some health concerns, or maybe a family member is. You may have kids actively in sports, or your work and life seems to be taking over. Whatever it is, these 3 C's are a great tool for when you're ready to try something new or recommit to something old or finally do the thing. The best part about this series is there's a free handout that goes along with each episode. I've found throughout my practice that writing things down really helps me see what I want or what's coming up for me. And also, the act of writing the thing down increases my level of commitment to it. To get the handout, you can either email me at freedcoachingco@gmail.com. That's FREED coaching co@gmail.com, or click on the link below in the show notes that will take you to a short form to access the free handout. We will go through the handout during today's episode and the next two, so pause right now and grab yours. What are you waiting for? It's completely free, and it is pretty too. Quick note on the handout though. I monitor the email box regularly, but it's not an automatic response yet. Those cool features are something I want in my business, and I am working up to it. But right now, it's me checking the inbox and sending the form out. So please be patient if it takes a few hours for you to receive your handout. I will do my best to send it as quickly as possible. Okay. Now that you have your handout, we will start at the top on the first C that's part of this 3-part series. The first C is curiosity, or get curious. When I think about being curious, I automatically am brought back to feeling childlike and looking at the world with a sense of wonder and awe. It's a beautiful thing to behold when we experience a child seeing something for the first time, or touching things like sand or snow for the first time. It's the best when they explore the woods or they try climbing the playground equipment. There is sometimes some fear or hesitancy there, but mostly they're curious about the new thing, the new experience. When we approach a situation with curiosity, it allows us to soften. It allows for openness and for more information to come in, for feelings and awareness to also come in. When we are curious about something, we approach it without judgment. And that gives me a lot of peace right there, because we can allow the thoughts, sensations, feelings, and experiences to happen, and then we are able to explore the why behind it or the meaning of it. In the first section of your handout, you will see 3 areas that we are going to get curious about. If you can only think of one, no worries. As I said before, just start. Just write something down. Starting is sometimes the hardest part of our whole goal and plan. I'm doing this exercise with you, so I will share what the first area I'm going to get curious about. It may seem funny or even not a big deal to some of you, and that's great. My area to approach with curiosity is not yours. We are all unique, and what is important to you is exactly what it is. And the same goes for me and for all of us. So sit and think about one area of your life that you can approach with curiosity. Something or somewhere that you feel stuck, or you've noticed a pattern where you don't want to experience anymore. For me, I'm getting curious about my need and want to stay in bed after my alarm goes off. I will sometimes wake up before the alarm goes off and still stay there until the alarm rings, and then stay even longer. The thing with this is, I don't want to do it, but I can't seem to edge myself out of bed. Sometimes I fall back asleep, which is even worse. Anyone else experience that, where you hit snooze and tell yourself 5 more minutes and you fall back into a deep sleep? I have some of the weirdest dreams during that time. And then I wake up more tired than I was before. I sometimes even have a feeling of being hungover. I'm groggy, I have a headache, I'm irritable. I don't want to experience any of these things. Yet, I stay in bed past the alarm, past the time I want to be getting up. It is the hardest thing I do every day, getting out of bed. Seriously, I just heard myself say that. It sounds a little ridiculous, but that's my truth at this moment. What's your truth? What areas of your life can you start getting curious about? You can say things like, isn't that interesting that I always need a sweet treat around 2 or 3 in the afternoon or after a meal? I am so curious about why I start a thing for 3 days, then stop, start it again, then start. That's really interesting. That's interesting that I need alcohol every day at the end of the day. I wonder why that is. What can I learn from that? I'm curious why I don't speak up at work when I know my stuff and could improve the project or the needs of my team. That's really interesting. So those are just a few examples of things you can start getting curious about. Because asking questions, being curious without judgment, helps us get through the crap. It helps us peel back layers and explore the nuances of every experience. It allows for deeper understanding, and we get to explore our actions and feelings. Full disclosure here, as you dive deeper and peel each layer back, you may feel exposed or vulnerable. Depending on the area of your life you're exploring, there could be a lot of stuff that you haven't thought about or acknowledged. If you feel you need more support in this journey, please seek a qualified professional such as a therapist or a doctor. Your feelings are valid, and your health and well-being is your priority. Your experience is yours, and it is true for you, and you may just need extra support in this journey. At the end of 2022, I thought a lot about New Year's resolutions. I thought about the ones I set every year: exercise more, eat healthy, meditate, spend more time with my family, more quality time. And I didn't want to set so many goals for 2023. I don't know about you, but I make a great effort to accomplish all the goals. And as I continue on this journey, I'm shifting to making things more simple, focusing on one thing at a time, one area that can make a big impact. As I sat with this idea of my New Year resolution and journaled on it, I realized that hitting the snooze button was stopping me from living the life of my dreams. It was stopping me from feeling happy when I wake up in the morning, from having the energy I desire to perform at a high level at work, create lasting experiences with my family, and having a side hustle that will eventually be my career. I have been hitting the snooze button since I got my clock radio in high school. The snooze button happens to be the largest button on the clock radio and the easiest to hit over and over and over again until I barely have enough time to get going and start my day. It seems like such a simple fix, right? Just don't hit the snooze button. I have tried moving the clock across the room. Of course, I've shifted now to using my phone alarm. Have you guys noticed the snooze button is also the largest one in the middle of the screen? I will literally get up, hit snooze, get back in bed, and then repeat. I even started putting the phone in bed with me and just kept snoozing. My husband, by the way, is not a fan of the snooze button, as he's dealt with this for a really long time. He has put up with my pattern for many years, and he doesn't understand it, as I'm sure a lot of you listening are in the same camp, because most of the time he just wakes up. He rarely needs an alarm, and although he may stay in bed for a bit, he almost never hits a snooze button if he does use the alarm. Getting up or waking up is just not a problem for him on most days. I, on the other hand, do not like getting up. It's a mindset thing, and this is the first area on the handout that I am approaching with curiosity. I'm peeling back the layers, going back to why I started hitting snooze in the first place at 16. What about this pattern gives me comfort? Or what is it that stops me from rising out of bed when the alarm goes off? Is it my nighttime routine? Am I getting enough sleep? Is it a pattern that protects me from something? How is snooze serving me? And how is it not? What is more important to me? Waking up later with snooze or getting up early? Think about your first area that you will get curious about, and remember, approach without judgment. That's the key here. If you feel that voice popping up in your head like mine did earlier, this is ridiculous. This is the thing that you want to be thinking about and focus on right now. That voice will pop up for many of us. It will try to derail us, bring us back to what is familiar and safe. Our brains are wired for that. But truly, are you safe with your current eating patterns? Are you satisfied with the current pattern at work? If the voice in your head becomes too strong or anxiety rears its ugly head, take a break from this exercise and come back to the sheet later when you are centered. Or you can pause, close your eyes, and breathe. Sit with those thoughts and get curious about them. Who is speaking to you right now that is judging your process and your actions and your feelings? And is that serving you anymore? There is a space on the sheet for 2 other areas of your life you can get curious about. Remember, no pressure if you can only focus on one or you can't think of any more. But if you have a few that you can jot down, great. Also, make a note of the things that you're getting curious about. You can make bullet points or just jot them down of what's important about it or what's more important for you to focus on. This exercise is meant to be fun, so get playful with it. If you're looking at your career and thinking about it makes you feel unfulfilled, write down a few things that would be really fulfilling instead. Remember, no judgment. If the area in your life is your health and you are curious about why you have no energy, or you're curious about trying a new way of eating, maybe vegan, paleo, or Mediterranean, write down some of those things that you're curious about. Also, you can always turn the sheet over and write more, so let the ideas flow. Just talking about this with you is getting me super excited. There are so many possibilities here, so many areas to explore and get curious about. Seriously, let it flow. Don't worry about the things being in order right now. Just write, dream, and breathe. Think about all the areas in your life. What keeps you up at night? What are the things that loop over and over in your head? Is it your health, your finances, relationships, career? These are the things that we are going to get curious about this week. If you're feeling pressure or stress or your mind has gone blank, no worries. You don't have to write a bunch of things down or even one thing right now. Or if you're out walking your dog, driving, come back to the exercise when you have time. Because next week, we will review this first C about getting curious and then continue with the exercise of improving our lives together. If you're like me and you like to jump ahead or move forward quickly, go for it. But I want to strongly encourage you to sit with the first C. Get curious. Come back to it and add details. Ask more questions about the area in your life you're approaching with curiosity. Take your time and know that things will flow as you continue with me in this series. If you are loving this idea and series and you know someone who would benefit from this and enjoy a freebie, please share this episode with them. It would mean so much to me. I want to ensure that we get this message out to all women who could benefit from the structure and the concepts I'm sharing in this series. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, stay wild, my friends. Thank you so much for spending time with me. I hope you feel free to take action toward building the life of your dreams. If something in this episode resonated with you, I would so appreciate it if you would text it to a girlfriend so she can hear the message as well. Until next time, stay wild.